Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Horizon TV. This is the Muslim Insight, the show that brings you your weekly news recap. Today we'll delve into the evolving security landscape, shining a spotlight on Haiti and Kenya's decision to send its security forces. Joining me in studio for that conversation is none other than Ms. Gail Castro, the Executive Director of the CFAM Foundation, as well as Mr. Musa Muale from the Maslaha Mediation Center. But first, let's give you the headlines.
I cannot advocate mtu apeleke mzazi wake kwa home, kaa naye kwa boma yako. Hata kama ni karumu moja, ni mama yako, mulikaa na yeye hiyo karumu moja akikulea.
Celebrating the elderly, Kenya marks International Day for older persons with calls for love and care for the elderly.
The economy starts and begins with us. How does that happen is through the payment of taxes. What happens to our taxes when we're living in an economy that is substantially being buffered by so much of debt?
Tough times ahead. The Committee on Fiscal Studies calls on Kenyans to brace for tougher economic times. Hajj 2024. Kenya begins Hajj 2024 preparations as Saudi Arabia increases country's Hajj quota from 6,000 to 10,000 people. Thank you for that. My name is Nadia Osman and my sign language interpreter is Mr. Abdulahab. Now, the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims, through its chairperson Hassan Olenado, has announced new measures ahead of Hajj 2024. Speaking to the press, Olenado said the new rules will see SUPKEM, the custodian of the Kenya Hajj mission, work with only 50 agents who have been vetted and approved to participate in the 2024 Hajj. He announced Kenya's quota for the number of pilgrims that the country can send to Mecca for the pilgrimage has been increased to 10,000 people, up from 6,000 people. Of Hajj is the requirements that the Kenya Hajj mission pays 20% of next year's Hajj costs by 17th October 2023, which translates to $1.6 million for the 4,500 pilgrims the Kenya Hajj mission has committed to send to Mecca in 2024. SUPKEM has also called on Muslims planning to go for Hajj next year to start passport application process early to avoid last-minute rush, with visa application process deadline set between 1st March to April 29th, 2024. Hajj 2024 will begin on June 14th and end June 22nd, 2024.
Harakati ya kupanga mambo ya Hajj kwa mwaka 2024 imeanza pale tulipomaliza Hajj ya mwaka huu. Serikali ya Saudia wameamua kwamba ili ipatikane mpango maalum ya kuweza kufanya uandalizi wa Hajj. Hajj itakuwa ni haraka ambayo inaendelea mwaka mzima, kwamba haitakuwa na wakati ya kuweza kusimamisha kwamba Hajj imekwisha. Mwaka hii tunashukuru Mungu, Kenya tuliongezewa wa mahujaji kutoka 6,000 ambayo tumekuwa nao miaka zilizopita mpaka watu 10,000. Lakini kwa mkutano ambayo tumekutana na kushauriana na agents, tulikubaliana kwa sababu ya hali ya uchumi ya nchi yetu, tulikubaliana kwamba haitawezekana mwaka hii tukapata watu 10,000. Tukakubaliana wote kwa pamoja, tukaona kwamba kwa sababu ya hali ya uchumi ya nchi, ukosefu ya pesa na pia gharama ya dola ambayo imeenda juu, bila shaka ambayo italazimisha gharama ya Haji iende juu, haitawezekana Wakenya wapatikane watu 10,000. Tukaamua kwamba tujaribuni tupate watu 4,500. Kwa hawa watu 4,500, taratibu ya serikali ya Saudia ni kwamba ilitarajiwa kwamba tarehe 16 Septemba tulipe 20% ya gharama ya haji. Lakini bahati mbaya tumechelewa kwa sababu ya shughuli tofauti na pia ukosefu ya pesa. Tumeomba kwamba pesa hizo iwezwe ilipwe kufikia tarehe 17 mwezi wa 10. Na tunaomba Wakenya na wale wote ambao wahusika wanaotarajia ama wanayopanga kusafiri kwenda kwa safari ya haji, tunawaomba washirikiane na wenzetu ambao wamesajiliwa kuwa ni agents, ili waweze kuhakikisha kwamba malipo kama ile yaweza kupatikana kwa wakati kama huu. Pesa inayotarajiwa 20% ni takriban dola milioni 1.6 ndio itakuwa ni kama pesa za kwanza ya kuweza kuonyesha kwamba Wakenya wako tayari kufanya haji. Sasa taratibu ya mwaka hii ni tofauti na mwaka zilizopita ambao watu walikuwa wanatoa visa mpaka siku ya mwisho ya haji. Mwaka hii haiwezekani. Mwaka hii inafungwa mwezi moja kabla haji. Sasa sisi tunawaomba Wakenya, Waislamu ambao wamepanga kusafiri kwenda haji, wajipange kwa sababu leo mambo ni tofauti, haifanyiki kama zile miaka zilizopita.
Thank you for that. Now, the national government, county government and other partners have been challenged to give special focus to the arid and semi-arid land counties to their unique challenges ahead of expected El Nino rains. Fafi Member of Parliament Salah Yaqub has called on the government to put proper measures in place to avoid a humanitarian crisis. He was speaking to the press in Bura East town when he oversaw the first batch of 560 bags of relief food destined to Dihara ward.
Rains have already started pounding some parts of Garissa County, including Galmagala in Fafi sub-county and parts of Masalani in Ijara sub-county. Yaqub said the infrastructure being the biggest challenge in the area, where most of the roads become impassable, it was important that essentials like food be well stocked in time in the sub-counties.
We've just left the drought the last 6 months. We have now come to the second cycle of disaster, that is floods, which is in our in the next 2-3 months, maybe in the next 2 weeks. Already in 5 of the wards in Fafi constituency, already one is becoming landlocked. The Kaharja now, rains have started from yesterday, and the traditional weather forecast we are getting is that in the next 2-3 days, it will be closed. So that's why we are sending the immediate first batch of food we received today to the Kaharja ward.
Bura East Deputy County Commissioner Thomas Bett said the sub-county steering group was in the process of mapping out key areas that are at a risk of flooding, adding that they are prepared to handle any eventualities if and when they arise.
Kama serikali tumepanga kwamba iwapo kuna sehemu ambazo zitakatika, vyombo vya serikali viko tayari kuja kuwasaidia kuhakikisha kwamba kila mtu anapata usaidizi wa aina yoyote.
He urged communities living near the rivers to move to higher and safer grounds.
Ningependa kuomba wananchi ambao watafaidika na mgao huu wa chakula kwamba waweze kutumia kwa makini huku wakijiandaa kwa mvua ambayo inakuja. Ningependa kuwaomba wale ambao wanaishi katika sehemu ambazo zinaweza kuloa maji waweze kuhama, waende sehemu ambazo ni salama. Wale ambao wanaishi pia karibu na mto Tana, iwapo mto Tana tunatarajia itavunja kingo zake iwapo mvua hii itanyesha, waweze pia kusonga kwa sehemu ambazo ni salama.
The government has announced that residents of arid and semi-arid areas who were affected the most by droughts are likely to be hit hardest by the El Nino rains. Garissa, Marsabit, Turkana, Baringo, Samburu, Wajir, Tana River, Kwale, Taita Taveta, Mandera, Narok and Isiolo counties are likely to experience flooding, with Elgeyo Marakwet and West Pokot at risk of landslides.
Thank you for that report. Now, the Committee on Fiscal Studies convened a university forum bringing together experts, policymakers and economists to discuss Kenya's mounting debt challenges and scrutinize the country's economic trajectory. Held in Nairobi, the forum aimed to foster a comprehensive dialogue surrounding Kenya's economic well-being. Speaking during the event, Dr. Leila Latif, the Chair Committee on Fiscal Studies, said there was need for urgency of adopting prudent fiscal management practices while promoting transparency and accountability as key pillars in addressing the high cost of living and debt crisis effectively.
The Committee on Fiscal Studies presented a comprehensive overview of Kenya's prevailing economic conditions, with the experts sharing strategies and plans for tackling the debt crisis and propelling economic growth.
The event that has been organized today by the Committee on Fiscal Studies is actually to have a real think about the economic situation in the country. And our take is that we are all about challenging, influencing, and engaging on thought. So the economy starts and begins with us. How does that happen is through the payment of taxes. What happens to our taxes when we're living in an economy that is substantially being buffered by so much of debt? We need to have conversations to understand what's happening and to have real solutions on how to mitigate this economic situation, which is a burden on the Kenyan people. So the workshop that we've organized today is to have this conversation about what we as government, as a private sector, as civil society, and the public can do to ensure there is more accountability of our taxes in this country, and there is more oversight in the manner in which the government is bringing on this idea of debt.
Speaking to the Muslim Insight, Leila Latif, the Chair Committee on Fiscal Studies, said it was time for Kenyans to start asking hard questions on the tax the government is collecting.
The issue of debt has become an issue of concern, features prominently in all discussions around the country, and the reason is, without a sustainable debt policy, then the country cannot be able to achieve its development goals.
When prices go high, they never go down. When taxes go up, they never come down. You'll never see in the history where taxation was at 30%, it has been significantly reduced to 25%. It doesn't happen. We just have to brace ourselves. But in terms of bracing ourselves, we've got to ask ourselves here, are we holding our government accountable? Because it all starts with accountability. Do we really know what is the true reflection of public debt in this country? Do we know how much we've paid in interest? I mean, we've paid, from what Honorable Omkia Omtata was saying, about almost 26 trillion Kenya shillings in interest payment. Let's not even talk about the principal. How are we going to sustain that in the next 10 years to come?
The event facilitated discussions. Participants exchanged ideas and recommendations for potential policy measures aimed at guiding Kenya through its complex economic terrain.
We're becoming billions of people on the earth, and the resources are becoming constrained. It's the same logic with taxes. You can't tax a nation to prosperity. It's like what has been said. It's like you're standing in a bucket and you're trying to lift yourself out of poverty. It will not work, right? And we've heard people, I think some representative from a civil society or a trade union say that the government can take our salary and give us back the taxes, which denotes that, you know, we cannot sustain this sort of livelihood. The taxes are going to go too high, they're going to be burdensome, and at the same time we're not seeing different sort of financial privileges for many of us to be able to buffer the economic consequences that we're living under.
Busia County Senator Honorable Okia Omutata called for enhanced transparency in the debt management, emphasizing the importance of ensuring that borrowed funds are collected to projects that deliver tangible economic benefits.
You'll find like as a politician, I sign nowhere. It's the lawyers, it's the architects, it's the accountants, the ones who sign all these things. The engineers, they look at the validate a road that is not built up to standard. And that problem, the elephant in the room is not the politician, it's the professional. But the professional is a product of scholarship. So why are our universities? The question of scholarship. It's not a question of politics. So politicians are groping in the dark. But if there was a clear path laid out and people are being called to order, there would be that. So the failure by our scholars to interrogate the Constitution is the problem.
A very impactful report. Now, Kenya has been lauded for its crucial role in textile technology and engineering industry. Kenya plans to host the second edition of International Textile Machinery Exhibition Africa and Middle East. The Textile Technology and Engineering Industry 2023 will be held in Nairobi starting 30th November to 2nd December 2023. The announcement was made during the India Networking Program in Nairobi.
The India International Textile Machinery Exhibition Society, a non-profit apex industry body from India, organized a networking program in Nairobi, bringing together different players in textile industry.
ITME Africa and the Middle East 2023 will initiate a conducive business environment, promote trade and agreement, and provide necessary support to encourage growth in the textile industry. The collaboration between the two countries could lead to a mutually beneficial relationship in the textile and textile engineering industry and convert initial connections into long-lasting partnerships.
The event aimed at initiating a new era towards self-reliance, socio-economic advancement and empowerment in the textile and engineering sector with international cooperation for Africa and the Middle East, with a mission to serve as a gateway solution for textile technology.
This sector, particularly textile, I think is one opportunity area for India and Kenya. Both as a commission, we are encouraging more and more Indian companies to look at Kenya, explore the possibilities of having their presence here, not only for the Kenya, but the whole of EAC and the larger part of Africa, because Kenya is the natural place for them to look at.
Speaking to Muslim Insight, Dr. Juma Muhwana, Principal Secretary, State Department for Industry, in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investments, reaffirmed the government's commitment to revive cotton farming to boost local manufacturing. This move aims to reduce reliance on imports and empower the local textile industry.
We want those clothes to be made from materials that have been made in Kenya. That's why we are growing the cotton. Next financial year, we are targeting to go to 100,000 acres of cotton. But we also know that we need to bring a factory that will make polyester and other synthetic fibers so that the companies that are manufacturing here in Kenya will use Kenyan raw materials to produce clothes to export to other countries, so that we are not buying cotton and other fabric from other countries.
Nairobi has been lauded as a strategic location and ideal for facilitating technology transfer and industry modernization across Africa. Reporting for Muslim Insight, I'm Kasim Mustafa.
Thank you for that report, Kasim Mustafa. Now, the Program for Christian-Muslim Relations in Africa held the International Day of Peace celebrations in Nairobi. The program brought together Christians and Muslims to celebrate their shared commitment to interfaith harmony and the promotion of sustainable community development. Speaking during the Amani Gala, Charles Kanjama, a senior counsel, emphasized on the importance of collaboration and understanding between the two faiths.
Somebody dies and two families come up. Wengine wanasema huyu ni Mkristo, wengine wanasema huyu alikuwa ni Muislamu. So there are always wrangles. There are always wrangles, and those are some of the disputes that you have to sit down and settle.
The International Day of Peace, established by the United Nations, is observed annually on September 21st to promote peace and raise awareness about the importance of peaceful coexistence.
Peace. And one of the things I have come to learn in my experience is that peace is always preceded by understanding, is always preceded by seeing the other person, seeing yourself in the other person, and seeing the other person in yourself.
Speaking during the Amani Gala event held in Westlands, Nairobi, Sheikh Abu Najma, the chaplain Kenyatta National Hospital, highlighted the importance of grassroots efforts in achieving peace, saying true peace starts from within the communities.
We have families that are sharing both religions. Either the mother is a Christian, the father is a Muslim, or there is one sibling who is a Christian, or the other sibling is a Muslim.
When you study about Muslim and Christian cohesion and living together, peace, love, and unity, it is found in Pumwani in Majengo. This one I've seen. You know, watu wanasema kwamba that's the center for Al-Shabaab and terrorism and Al-Qaeda and extremism, and this is sometimes it's not the truth, it's an exaggeration. The Christians, when they are faced with challenges, wako na mazishi, the Muslims assist them. When the Muslims are having challenges, the Christians will come and assist them.
The event brought together peace actors, religious leaders, media and community members for an open conversation to celebrate individual actions in making our communities peaceful for everyone.
Christians and Muslims have a history of understanding and, of course, misunderstandings. More so, inherited stereotypes and prejudices about each other have triggered violent conflict in many instances.
Dr. Salia Fungani, a lecturer at St. Paul's University in Limuru, said religion plays an important role in peace building and its role cannot be ignored.
Religion is a strong marker of identity. And in Africa, religion influences every aspect of life. The way we eat, the way we cook, the way we dress, the way we talk is religious.
Charles Kanjama, a member of the Presidential Task Force on the review of the legal and regulatory framework governing religious organizations, called on religious leaders to work closely in addressing religious radicalization and extremism in the country.
And I remember when we visited the county of Kwale, there was a Christian who said, you know, before we used to think of extremism as what the Al-Shabaab do. This is a Muslim problem, terrorism, and us, we are the victims. But lately, we have started recognizing that we also, Shakahola and other such of places, we have problems. All of us have to deal with extremism.
The Program for Christian-Muslim Relations in Africa works to ensure communities, in spite of their differences, work together for justice, peace and reconciliation towards the holistic development of the human family and the environment. Reporting for Muslim Insight, I'm Lena Musa.
Thank you for that report, Lena. Now we go on to the next report. As the world celebrated International Day of Older Persons on October 1st, the Kibra Day Care Center for the Elderly hosted a day of special activities to honor and support the elderly in the area. Agnes Karaoke, the founder, Kibra Day Care Center for the Elderly, said the event emphasized the significance of caring for and respecting older people who have contributed to the society in various ways. The number of older people is estimated at 6%, totaling approximately 2.7 million people in Kenya.
International Day of Older Persons is celebrated annually on October 1st to raise awareness about the challenges faced by older people and to promote their well-being.
Hiyo ni siku serikali inaeleza wazee na dunia mzima mahali imefika kwa masuala ya wazee.
In an interview with the Muslim Insight, Agnes Karaoke, the founder Kibra Day Care Center, a community-based organization for the elderly that caters and advocates for the rights of the older persons in Kenya, says bringing the elderly together helps them share ideas and feel part of the community.
Ile kazi tunafanya hapa kama Kibra Day Care Center for the Elderly kuweza kuleta wazee pamoja. Kwa sababu akiwa peke yake nyumbani akona ile upwekwe na akona ile loneliness. Kwa hivyo sasa kama kukuja hapa ni kama it's a gathering place ya social activities. Wanaonana, wanajuliana hali, na sisi kama shirika tunawahimiza yale inawasumbua kwa manyumba waweze kuyaongea. Sisi sasa na sisi tuongee na other partners na hata serikali tuweze kuambia wazee hapa ndio ile kiwango wanaumia.
The event served as a platform to raise awareness about the challenges older persons often face, including social isolation and limited access to healthcare, among others.
Sana sana dhuluma, ndio wazee wanadhulumiwa sana kipesa, si kwa matatu, si kwa hospitali. Anaambiwa ana dawa, anaharibu dawa na miaka imeenda. Ile sasa hiyo si kawaida, kwa sababu ugonjwa ya mzee, hakuna ugonjwa ya mzee na ugonjwa ya mtu mwingine. Ugonjwa ni ugonjwa tu. Kwa hivyo sasa hiyo ndio siku, kama kwa sababu tunakuwa na all departments. Kama ni upande wa health, wanajiongeleshea vile wanafanyia wazee wakienda hospitalini. Kama ni private sector, tunakuwa na watu wa matatu, masako, wanasema nini, wanahimizwa namna ya kubeba wazee na heshima.
The 67-year-old called on Kenyans to create an inclusive and supportive environment for older persons.
Ikiwa mtoto yako unamchukua, unamfanyia kila kitu. Huyu shushu, huyu mama yako, na umri yake imeenda. Amekufa nini hajakufanyia? Amekusomesha, umepata kazi, kwa nini unashindwa na yeye? Kwa hivyo mimi ningehimiza watu yetu, kaa na mzazi, kwa sababu vile nimekaa na hii program ya older persons. Kitu ya kwanza natakaga, yani kama anaguza wajukuu wake, kama anaona watu yake karibu na yeye. Kwa hivyo mimi I cannot advocate mtu apeleke mzazi wake kwa home. Kaa naye kwa boma yako. Hata kama ni karumu moja, ni mama yako. Mlikaa na yeye hiyo karumu moja akikulea. Kwa hivyo hata ile room wewe mwenyewe umepata, kuwa na hiyo upendo, ukae na mama yako na baba yako.
She applauded the government's efforts to uplift the lives of the poor and vulnerable citizens through regular and reliable bi-monthly cash transfers through the Inua Jamii program.
Before then we were targeting. And when you come to targeting, unaangazia kabisa huyo mzee ako namna gani, anakaa namna gani, ako na uwezo ama huna uwezo, ako na shida gani, sasa ndio uweze kumuingiza kwa program. And then hiyo ilikuwa na keta kwa family. Lakini sasa wakati wa hiyo declaration ya president, ilisemekana it's a universal 7 years, in 7 years and above. Kwa hiyo sasa haikujali ate ule ako nayo ama ule hana. Lakini sasa sana tena ile iliweza kukapcha macho mengi ya wazee, kwa sababu they were promised hii kadi ya hospitali it will be included. Kwa hivyo sasa hata wale ule ako naye alikuwa na labda ako na shida ya mwili, alikuwa naangazia aingie ndio akuwe na benefit kwa hiyo kadi ya hospitali. Who is never came.
Reporting for Muslim Insight, I'm Lena Musa.
Thank you for that report, Lena. Now, the Embassy of the State of Palestine in Kenya hosted a lecture on the rich history, challenges, successes and opportunities of Palestinian women. The lecture was delivered by Ms. Sara Jabari at the Embassy of the State of Palestine in Nairobi. Jabari said it was important for Kenyans to understand gender mainstreaming in the State of Palestine and how the mainstreaming plays a vital role in creating awareness, promoting gender equality and women's rights.
Sara Jabari, a program director at the Palestinian Family Planning and Protection Association, narrated the women's enduring contribution to the Palestinian identity.
For Palestinian women, we are still there, we exist. We want to be decision makers, we want to be politicians, academic, researchers, and we are there. There are a very good number of women who are participating in the political side. There are many who are participating in different aspects.
She highlighted the challenges that Palestinian women continue to face, including discrimination, gender-based violence, and the impact of the Israeli occupation.
We suffer a lot in our daily living, but at the same time, and as I said in my presentation, we Palestinians are born to live and to live happily. So regardless of all the challenges that we are facing on our daily life, we still live and we still want to be successful.
People understand the calamities through which the Palestinians have been through and the aspiration for building a more democratic, advanced, stable, first of all, form of governance, of course, and then a more stable and advanced societies. It's through this inter-dialogue between our institutions and between our experts that can we achieve that.
On his part, the State of Palestinian Ambassador to Kenya, His Excellency Hazem Shabat, said the event aimed at showcasing the remarkable success stories of Palestinian women who have excelled in various fields.
This event is a series of events that we are holding here in the embassy and in other institutions in Kenya to showcase the amount of similarities of the challenges that we have with the Kenyan society, that Palestine has with the Kenyan society, and to learn from each other's experiences, showcase our experiences, and also hear and listen from our Kenyan counterparts, the academia, the intellectuals, and all the activists that are working in Kenya on matters that are very relevant for both Kenya and Palestine and their societies for sure.
The event provided a platform for Palestinian women and their allies in Kenya to discuss opportunities and strategies for further advancing gender equality and women empowerment, not only in Palestine but also within the Kenyan context.
It was really exciting for me to talk to Kenyan people, especially that we shared some common aspects, especially political and social aspects. I was also very happy to hear their points of view, their comments and their questions, and it was really good. Thank you.
We believe that through knowing each other better, this is how the relationship, the historical fraternity that we have with Kenya can be better improved and advanced and progressed and maintained throughout the year and in the years to come for sure. We have a lot to learn from each other. We have been through a similar history.
Reporting for Muslim Insight, my name is Mariam Musa.
Now that report from Maria brings us to the end of our first part of the show. We're going to go on a very short break, but we're coming back with today's discussion, so do not go anywhere.
Horizon TV, Kurunzi ya Taifa. On the next episode,
hata ikufika kesho yake, sasa hiyo jioni, sasa moto umewaka. Sylvia, ikozuko nyumbani na nitatu Sylvia. Haya, kuja kwa Kiluya. Mimi nikaenda. Ushafanya vile nimekuambia? Hapana, sijafanya bado baba. Okay, unasubiria nini? Na unakumbuka kile nimekuambia mchana? Niambia kama sirudi Ukristo utanikatakata ama unichome. Haya, akaingia ndani, nikamwona anapanga. Basi mimi nikakimbia nikaenda kwa nyanya, nikamwambia nyanya, basi hapa nataka kunikata. Sababu ni nini? Mimi nimekuwa Muislamu. Yeah. Kwa hivyo tu sasa hapo ndani uingie.
Katika kipindi kijacho,
hawakuelezi kwanza hichi kitu maana yake nini. Wanakueleza ubora. Wakishakukueleza ubora, sasa bila shaka utakuwa na hamu ya kutaka kujua hicho kitu ambacho nimeambiwa ni bora kitu gani. Alafu baada dhalika ndio wanakuelezea fadhlul Islam, ubora dini ya Kiislamu. Ndugu zangu, inaenea nabii aliyetumilizwa ubora wake, na dini yenyewe ubora wake, na umma ambao wametumiliziwa huyo mtume ambaye ni bora kushinda mitume yote. Ni kitabu ambacho Waislamu wanatakiwa wakizingatie, kwa sababu kinawaelezea dini yao wenyewe waliokuwa nayo.
katika kipindi kijacho.
Mtu ana khairi yake ataka kuifanya, walillahi alhamd. Ana akiba yake ataka kuitoa kwa ajili ya Allah, walillahi alhamd, ni neema. Lakini ameshikilia kwamba ataka kujenga msikiti, wa hadha khair la shakka fihi. Lakini swali, msikiti ule ndugu yangu Muislamu kisha ujenga, utasimamiwa na nani? Msikiti unahitaji aima, msikiti unahitaji khutaba, msikiti unahitaji wuadh, msikiti unahitaji tulabul ilmi, msikiti unahitaji wasimamizi kupeleka msikiti ule. Unataka leo msikiti umeujenga unapelekwa na juhal? Msikiti umejengwa hauna mbele hauna nyuma, hakuna imara, ni jengo ambalo limesimama.
On the next episode.
Mimi kwangu msikitini, shopping yangu nikinunua, nimetoka hapa na Jamia, nimeingia Naivas, nimeingia Quickmart, nimeingia Kafu, nimejinunulia kijikoba kimzigo kidogo changu. Siwezi kubali kwenda kuonekana msikitini. Najaribu nijificha fiche kidogo nipeleke kwangu kwa nyumba. Kwa sababu ukionekana tu, Sheikh mashallah leo mpata sadaka leo bana. Kuna mtu leo amekukumbuka sadaka Sheikh? Pesa yako mwenyewe umenunua, ambiwa ni sadaka Sheikh. Watoto wako wakisoma vizuri, nani wa kusponsor ya? Haufai. Sheikh hawezi kuwa hivi, dai hawezi kuwa hivi Sheikh.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Horizon TV. As I had mentioned earlier, today's discussion will be delving into the evolving security landscape in Haiti, as well as understanding why Kenya has made the decision to send their security forces rather to Haiti and help with security. And joining me in studio is none other than Mariam Gail Caster, the Executive Director of CFAM Foundation. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Mr. Musa Muale, the Director of the Maslaha Mediation Center. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation.
Welcome.
And just to start by understanding what's going on in Haiti, I think this question is for Ms. Mariam. We're understanding, for anyone who's listening, for anyone who, there's been a lot of questions being raised by Kenyans, and one of them is what's going on in Haiti as we speak right now. And I know that also the CFAM Foundation, you work a lot with uplifting women and children. And we know in any point of insecurity, the people who are affected the most are women and children. So just to paint for us an overview of the situation in Haiti, if you could.
Thank you for the question. I would say that right now Haiti is in a very critical but decisive route, because we need to actually sit down and see in 10 years, 20 years where we're going. Are we going to continue like that? To do a little background, Haiti was the first black nation to be liberated from slavery. So we in 1804 decided that we're never going to let anybody come and put us in slavery again. And that is a huge thing. Being the first black nation, and that allowed us to become an example for other people. And we went over several countries and helping them gaining their independence. So that in itself is a weight that we are carrying that the international or those colonial masters did not like. And from there, they put it in their agenda to always crumble us, to make us look as worse as we can be, because it was not possible for them to understand that, you know, those uneducated black that were in servitude could come up and get together to become one, and then to allow us to be what we are today. So, however, we have seen Haiti in different phases. One of the worst, I think everybody can relate to, that is a situation that was recent, was in 2010 when we had the earthquake in Haiti. And we have lost 100,000 people. And the infrastructures was affected. We had so many issues at once, but yet we are a resilient people, so we survived that. Then we had hurricanes, then we had tornadoes, then we had the natural disaster adding to the security crisis that we've been having. And I would say that the security crisis would be about 1986, after Papa Doc has left, Baby Doc, sorry, we went to exile. We started having governments that are never stable. So it was always this one comes and a coup, and then this one goes and a coup. So there was never a stable government that would allow us to create a society that sits in justice and equity for everybody.
Yes. And just to pose a question to Mr. Musa, I know you're listening to her, and some of the concerns she's saying is we've got first the colonial system, and Kenya also has gone through a very, not a very positive colonial past with the British, and also talking about instability, especially with countries and governments. Alhamdulillah, in Kenya we can say that one of the things we are blessed with is a stable government, a stable country. But I know Mr. Musa can probably touch on that, especially when we talk about our neighbors and how Kenya has played a role in also assisting them.
Thank you very much, and once again, viewers, you're welcome. One, we need to understand that, just as my sister has said, that Haiti was one of the first African nations or black nations to be independent. They have a history of more than 200 years.
Yeah.
But then this, and at one time they were very wealthy, and did not go down well with the masters, and they were systematically destroyed after that. I think in the early 1900s they were occupied by the US. So the French made sure that they destroyed what they left, and that has been their norm. You know, whenever they leave, they want to destroy. And the Americans went there, and then later on also systematically started destroying the infrastructure. So basically, and unlike us, maybe we didn't have a lot of issues that generated or interested our colonial masters to come back and destroy us. Because what happens with countries that have, especially natural resources, the colonial masters don't want to leave. They want to hang on. And if they cannot hang on, they want to come back and destroy. So whatever really is happening in Haiti is something that is being orchestrated for specific reasons. So it's not that the Haiti people don't want peace, but there's someone who doesn't want them to have peace. Because if they do, just like in Congo, then you won't exploit their resources.
Very, very well put. And I think I can see you agreeing with that as well.
Definitely. I think you put it really well, because it's not that we cannot give ourselves peace. It's those actors behind the scenes that are producing or are fomenting this situation, and it benefits someone. It benefits someone. Now, right now, you have 200 plus gangs in the country. There's no stability anywhere. If you need to breed or walk on the street, you have to go to the north part of Haiti to really do that. And the south part is separated from the north part. So gangs are controlling all the infrastructures that are left because, like I said, 2010, we had a bad earthquake that left us with a lot of infrastructure issues that we did not have time to resolve. And now you have a country that is, you know, scattered and controlled by different gangs in different regions, and we're not allowed to supply. There's, like in Jeremy, for example, which is a fertile land, a country or a side of the country that produce a lot of food. The food cannot come to Port-au-Prince because of this gang issue. When they have to go through Matissan, which is one of the main routes for them to come in Port-au-Prince, they have to pay the gangs. You pay one gang leader a certain amount, the second one you pay a certain amount, the third one you pay a certain amount. So by the time you get in Port-au-Prince, you already broke. And whatever you, excuse me, you bring in with you, it's already faded, it's already, you know, and you gotta sell it higher price because you're trying to go back again and pay all these tolls, that's what I call them, to be able to go back to your country. So it's the day-to-day life, it's unbearable. People cannot circulate. It's in the morning, sometimes you will see people try to rush to the market, get something. By 10, 11, you start hearing guns, and then everybody goes in, or you try to install a certain type of stability in your child. You say, okay, you don't go too far, I'm going to put you in a school in the neighborhood. By 9, 10, 11, the school calls you, you got to come. You know, so there's nothing functioning. However, I salute the resilience of my people because despite all this, you can see that if you look at in our faces, we still laugh over that because we know that at a certain time, this too shall pass.
And I think Mr. Musa would love to add on something on that.
Yeah, okay. One is that, of course, like my sister is saying, there are so many, I think it's estimated that you have almost 20,000 gang members, you know, and I think the Haiti government has almost like 10,000 police officers. About. Yes. So you're talking of 10,000 versus 20,000. And Kenya, we are only taking maybe 1,000. Of course, there are other countries that have pledged to take a few. Maybe Kenya, we're taking a little bit more. But even if those other countries contribute their police officers, they might not run up to maybe 5,000. So 5,000 against 20,000 gang members with over 50,000 arms, you know. So you can see that that's going to be a real challenge for, and without any functional system of governance, then it becomes difficult. Our forces are trained, our police are trained to maintain law and order, not to bring law and order.
And just for you, Mr. Musa, and I know that we've reached the point where we are having the Kenya government sending in security officers to Haiti. How do you feel about sending security officers? I know there are many concerns that Kenyans share. Probably you could share them with us.
Yeah, one is that of course it's a welcome move to help a brother, and of course what the president is doing is in line with within his manifesto as the Kenya Kwanza government on trying to promote Pan-Africanism. So basically that is in line with that. Yes. But also, of course, you cannot see someone suffering and not try to lend a hand. Very so true. It's in that spirit. But also what it portends for Kenya is that, of course, it's going to raise the international profile of the country, and probably those people who will be assigned, the officers who will be assigned to go there will earn a little bit extra than what they earn here.
Yes.
But then you're also looking at, and that's the concern. The main concern is that this is it's a UN spearheaded initiative, but it's not UN funded.
Yes.
You know, so it's member countries that are going to contribute. It's a voluntary process. So when people don't contribute because they're not obligated to, then maintaining that kind of intervention becomes difficult because not everyone would be willing to give a certain amount. The UN, I think, so far has maybe pledged about $100 million US dollars.
Yes.
That is just a drop for a country that has no infrastructure, even basic infrastructure. Because when you want to go save someone, there is also what goes with that. You know, clean water, roads, you know, schools, medical facilities.
Yes.
Those even housing, those basic needs have also to be fulfilled. So it's not only enough to send in someone to either keep peace or bring peace, but also those facilities that come with peaceful living. So that is the challenge. Yes.
And Madam Mariam, I know that also as a Haitian, you could probably tell us how you feel about Kenya and various different countries basically sending in assistance probably to assist with the security situation of the country.
I have to say that, how can I say that? I am not in the state right now to say I oppose anymore because it's obvious that our Kenyan brothers and sisters will be going to Haiti. But my reservation is that I'm going to give an example. When I first landed in Nyeri, where my best friend Rahima Shaban, that I salute, is living, I went to the marketplace and trying to figure out how much people knew about Haiti. And it was amazing that people never heard of Haiti. They thought it was Jamaica because of the music. So not having that culturally understanding of what Haiti is, the history of Haiti, what we have done, where we are now, what type of people, what type of culture, how we eat, how we move. I feel that there will be some, you know, differences and imbalance in the help that our Kenyan troops will be giving. I agree with my brother right here that, you know, when you see somebody suffering, you need to help. However, in order to help, the first step is the person that is suffering needs to welcome the help. The thing is like, when you do an evaluation on the inside or outside, and you talk to Haitians, they will tell you, we did not ask for that. The international community put it on the floor, and okay, Kenyan welcome that, and we appreciate the fact that they took the leadership to come. However, if we did not ask and you want to come, now you need to sit down with us to figure out how you can get that done. And what we have seen is that the convoy that went in, I think it's September, in Haiti, all they did is talk to the Prime Minister, and then they left. So the Prime Minister in itself, we have some reserve for, you know, for his government, because for the past 2 years, he hasn't made concrete decisions or actions that show that he wants to get rid of the gangs. He wants to establish a government that will be taking this country to a next level. So when you go and sit with somebody that we don't trust, and then you expect us when you come back to trust you, to work with you, it's very difficult because we don't know where you stand. Because the reality that is in the streets of Haiti and the reality that this government is portraying is two different things. You know, I was raised in a neighborhood named Kafufei, which is actually now gang infested. And we in the neighbors has been fighting with the gangs for quite some times now. But the more guns they have, the more power they have, and the less justice system. Well, we don't even have justice system. Let's get that straight. So they have taken over. Now the same people from that neighborhood had gone seeing the police, And they have asked, request, demanded help. And the police, or they said they were looking, they were like, we did not receive the order. So what are we doing?
A very, very good concern. And Mr. Musa, you're also agreeing on this. And let's talk about now the gangs that are in the regions as well, as you've mentioned. When we constantly look at neighborhoods that are gang infested, there's always one of the reasons why that happens is probably unemployment. Probably, Mr. Musa, as you add on to what you said, maybe you could talk to us more about that.
Yeah, one is that my sister has put it quite right. One is that there's the legitimacy question of the existing governance system. So it's dangerous when you're going to sit with someone who has not won the trust of the people they're governing. So whose interest are you representing? There's also the question of the exploitation by, of course, the US and the French and all that. So, and this being backed by some countries like the US, and the US having lauded the Kenyan government for taking the initiative or the lead, what is the implication of that for the people on the ground? Would they see our force, our intervention as just being puppets of the US, or working for the interest of the US and the French, who have long exploited them? So these are some of the dynamics and the cultural barriers, the language. You know, the French and Haitian Creole.
Haitian Creole.
Haitian Creole. We are Swahili, English, and Sheng speaking.
Yeah.
We do not really understand the landscape of that place. So there are quite a number of barriers. That's what is making quite a number of Kenyans also apprehensive. And we think that, many people think that this decision was not well informed.
Yes.
It was not well researched. It doesn't have backing, a lot of backing of the citizen of the country. And maybe there are other intentions other than the goodwill that it's supposed to be. So, and then you also know that in Kenya, we have quite a number of challenging issues in terms of security. We have our own local militias in South and North Rift that we are unable to battle. We have Al-Shabaab hitting us each and every day.
Yes.
And you see now, these are people like the Al-Shabaab insurgents. They're people who come in, carry out an operation and go. But they really, really harm us. Now, you're taking people to a place that has 20,000 gang members with very sophisticated weapons, with no infrastructure, with no functional governance system. How are you going to do that?
A very, very good question.
It is a real big challenge. So we, as she says, we really have to know how to get in terms of how do we get the people we want to support, how do we become their allies without the risk of offending other parties. You know, so we need to study whose interest are we going to fight for. Is it the local Haitians? Is it the gang members? Is it the governance system that has the legitimacy question on them? Is it the foreign interest of the US and the French who just want to exploit certain resources within that country?
Very, very true. And Madam Mariam, probably you could paint a picture, and I think before you add on that, my question for you is, when we look at countries sending forces to other neighboring countries and to assist with probably their security issues, one of the things that we constantly see are crimes against humanity. And I think that is what we mostly see carried out. We're looking at women, we're looking at children, and then we're looking at probably at home, Kenyans probably sometimes have constantly said that the security forces, and I think Mr. Musa can agree with this, is that Kenyan forces are known to go extreme when enforcing the law. And let's talk about now them coming to Haiti. What do you think is going to happen when it comes to not having a proper functioning government, and what if a foreign body, not just Kenya, but any of the countries come and probably carry out crimes against humanity?
I can only, how can I put this? I can only imagine some situation, but we all know God is in control. So whatever I say may not be whatever it is. Maybe they will go and something will happen and everything will be fine. However, knowing how the situation of my country is, I feel that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because my colleague says that the brother just, told us that the picture that we see on these clips on YouTube, Facebook, and so forth are not the total reality. And when in my job as the executive director of SAFAM, when we look at the state of the women and children, let's stay on the children. Do you know that we have gang recruiting children from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? They become spies for them. They pay them. Their family receiving money for that. So now how do you, as someone that is not accustomed to what's going on, see this child innocent, and then start talking to the child, start letting the child be around you, because we have this mother and father type of feelings, and this child is actually a member of a gang that has a mission to report what you do, what you said, how you do. So now once you discover that, how this is gonna play out for you? Are you gonna kill that child? Are you gonna, what is it? How you gonna react to this? Because you're gonna feel violated, betrayed, because you're looking at this is an innocent child, but yet this is a weapon as well. So it is, I don't know, I have this urgency to again ask the president to look at the whole picture. It is, yes, a necessity. We are in dire need. But again, there's a reality that needs to be understood. You find young women that join gangs. You find them beautiful looking young women that are gang members, that their role is to gather information and do certain things and to report to the gangs. So how do you deal with that? How do you look at these women and say, oh, you in the gang, you not from the gang? When you don't even talk the language of the people, when you don't even understand the culture of the people. So I'm just hoping for the best, as always. But I can foresee a situation where our brothers and sisters from Kenya will go there and realize that they were not prepared for that.
Yes. Mr. Musa, anything you'd like to add on that?
Quite true. I think, as I said earlier, the decision was not really well informed and researched. It is a good move. It's a noble move to help a brother, sister who is in need, who is suffering. Yes, we have succeeded in other places. We are known to really have provided intervention in quite a number of countries beyond Africa. But just as we had the issue even in Somalia, and people were asking, whose interest are you fighting for here in Somalia? The same question is going to happen. But fortunately in Somalia, they are our neighbors, so we have a lot of interest. We were being affected directly by the insurgents, so we had a lot of interest to protect. We need them to be stable so that that stability, of course, affects our relationship, our working, our businesses and all that, being neighbors. But now in Haiti, They are our brothers. We need to do something about it, but we need to be very careful. We need to be cautious. There are many ways that we can provide intervention other than sending our police officers or whatever, even if it was military officers. And by the way, why would the US, who has so much interest in Haiti, front other people and other people's kids and not their own? Why? You know, you have a big population of Haiti in the US. They should be concerned that we don't want, we want to minimize the immigrants from Haiti, and therefore we need to make that country more stable than ask other people to come in and intervene. So at a risk of not being seen to be fighting someone else's war, we need to tread cautiously, and we need to do a lot of background check. We might want to relook at the decision and maybe provide some intervention that would be maybe technical in terms of even training, in terms of, you know, bringing maybe some legitimate police officers from Haiti and maybe trying to train them, because we have battled with insurgents, so we have some experience. But that's a battle front. And our police are not used to being in a battlefront.
Very, very true. And I'm going to get back to you with probably what do you think the international community could do more for Haiti? But I'll go to Madam Mariam. You could probably tell us, other than security, let's talk about the infrastructure. Let's talk about the healthcare in the country. Let's talk about the education sector in the country. This is some of the issues, or this is some of the dockets that have been affected with probably the insecurity. Tell us more challenges that Haiti is facing, if it's clean water, it's a lack of proper healthcare, and what ways can they be assisted as well?
Like you said, yes, the infrastructures is number one. We have very huge needs to get our roads and our infrastructure together to allow the flow of the circulation between different parts of Haiti. Yes, we do not have healthcare. The healthcare system is completely down. You have hospitals shutting down because of gang violence. They cannot maintain, you know, to open because sometimes their doctors are being kidnapped, their nurses are being killed, their patient on the way may have been killed as well, so most of them shut down. Schools is the same issue. You have some schools that I think last year that tried to do homeschooling, which is not something that the Haitian kids are, you know, accustomed to. And plus, we don't have no good electricity system. We don't have no good internet system. And in terms of water, we don't have no clean water. It's always an issue to find water. So again, this is another issue that is affecting us. The fact that we don't have water and we cannot, you know, the agriculture system is down as well. So we're importing a lot of food from outside to be able to feed the people. And those areas that has food, unfortunately, it's not, we can get it from point A to point B again because of the gang. Now, social services, you will find some cities, some areas that try to do as much as they can to help their constituent. But again, there's a lack of fundings because everybody's interested on giving people from outside money instead of giving us, you know, money to do some good in the community. Because sometimes you may come with a concept of, oh, this is going to be good for them. But each city, each neighborhood of Haiti is confronting, yes, generally security, but they have their own issues that they need to address. So every help that we give needs to be catered to the specific place that you are going to make sure it's effective. I can say that the day-to-day, it's worse and worse and worse, and we need to address that.
Thank you so much for shedding light on that. And I was telling Mr. Musa before I got back to you, the question is, what do you think the international community can do more for Haiti?
One is the best way to try to help someone is to try to understand their interest and their need from them, from their own perspective. It's not to imagine that this is what they need. It's to ask them, what do you really need? And how do we go about it in terms of empowering them? Because solutions are there. Everyone who faces a challenge, they seem to have a solution to that challenge, but they cannot place a finger on it. So your work is to reach out to them and help them identify that solution. And basically also looking at what are the interests of the gang members. Is it unemployment? Is it greed? What is it? What about these arms? Where are they coming from? Definitely they're coming from somewhere. Someone is benefiting. So how can we really minimize, first of all, you know, the infiltration of arms into the public? Then can we get rid of what we have within the public? So then it will be easy now to go in, and the best thing is to provide the basic infrastructure that will make people go about their daily life. There are countries that have been at war, but do you know, when you ask some of the citizens, they're not even aware. They say, well, we hear gunshots, you know, from afar, but they're okay. They're going about their business, they're earning some income, they're eating, they're going to school and all that kind of stuff. So you need to provide an environment where the Haiti people can live in peace, can earn, can get the basic needs like education, like health. So infrastructure is key. And let the international community stop having their own agenda and look at the agenda of the Haiti people.
Very, very
Yes.
true. You'd like to add in?
Yes, I would like to add, and I'm so grateful for your presence today, because I know coming from you, people can relate exactly. I also wanted to add that the biggest challenge that we have, Haiti doesn't produce guns. We don't make guns. We might make machetes, but we don't make guns. Those AK-47s and all huge, heavy machinery that we have seen those young people having, they are coming from somewhere. So the international has been, we have some members of the diaspora that put themselves together and form coalition to ask the international to sanction, first of all, identify those that are feeding those gangs those guns, and then to section them. Because you cannot kill a snake by cutting its tail. You cut the head. If you isolate them, if they cannot receive no more munitions, if they cannot receive no more drugs, if they cannot get more of these guns, then if you're trying to do an intervention, it's probably going to work. But as more flow of guns and drugs and everything else under the sun that they need, because they have bigger technology than the national police. So we are talking about gang members that have drones, that have all kind of camera systems set up, and that the Haitian police doesn't have much of that. And they have boats, you know, and who knows, maybe one day they're gonna wake up and buy an helicopter. So they are sophisticated. So we need to cut them off these things. These are gadgets for them. We'll provide them with this. The international need to reinforce that resolution that they had put forth. They have an embargo in Haiti on guns. However, we have multiple guns coming every day in different situations, some coming from the United States, some coming from Dominican Republic. How did they get there if we have an embargo? So let's be serious. We need those guns, the resolution to be passed and to be reinforced, identify these people, section them, and let's cut the guns. Now, when we're done, we need to go back again. The international need to ask, because they're imposing us this prime minister. Okay, you want us to work with him. However, his name is mentioned on the we're doing, how do you say that? It's like we're trying to bring justice to those who killed our late President Jovenel Moïse.
Yes.
And his name is among those that are suspected to kill the president. But yet you want us to work with him. And every time there's a way, the CARICOM, for example, have come in Haiti trying to put all the political and social actors together to be able to find a solution, the same prime minister is minimizing these actions. Even if the CARICOM comes to Haiti or we go to them, this is the same thing. So we need to be clear on what is it that they want us to do, because at this moment we feel that the international is imposing us something, and they've been doing this for years. Every president that we had has been some sort of way imposed to us, and not letting Haitians choose those that are beneficial to them. So they need to do a step back and allow us to breathe and think, because this is a Haitian crisis that needs a Haitian solution.
Very, very well put, especially when you mention not just cutting the snake from the tail but the head, and also mentioning that there is a lot of mistrust between the people and the current government, and that can really show you that without trust between the government and its people, nothing can go forward. Mr. Musa, before I get back to you, I just want to get from Madam Mariam, community-based initiatives. The probably organization, NGOs, CBOs probably operating in Haiti to probably assist the people. You could tell us more about many initiatives and how they contribute positively to the security situation.
We do have, I have several of NGOs that are present in Haiti. We have Doctors Without Borders. You have NGOs that deal with women and children just like me. You have those that deal with you know, health and so forth. However, the impact of their actions is very limited because, again, of the gangs. Like, for example, the situation in Kafufay, a lot of us had put together our heads, because we have a health cluster that we work with several partners to see how we could bring some relief. And it was very difficult to get relief to these people because the area was so gang infested. So we were worried that those people that would be sending may not come back to their families because they may be killed or kidnapped or disappeared, and then we will be responsible. So yes, there's actors that are in Haiti, but the current situation doesn't make it easy for us to be able to, you know, help the population and bring them the services that they need. So this is a major concern, and we all have to step back, because we have had in any organizations that exist in Haiti, somebody knows somebody that has been kidnapped.
Mr. Musa, just getting back to you from something she earlier had mentioned, how important is it that not just law enforcement but the government gets along with its citizens?
It's quite important, because the governing or the government leads people. It derives the mandate to lead from its own people. And if people are not willing to, or they did not give that mandate, then it becomes difficult. So the few successive governments that have been in place have not been, as my sister put it, have been imposed onto the Haitian, and therefore it becomes a problem. So maybe what the international community should try to do right now is to try to help put in place a government that is acceptable. Somehow it might not be acceptable to everyone, but somehow acceptable to a number of Haitian, to just, like, it could be like a transitional government, to just move, bring some level of stability and peace, develop infrastructure, then maybe in a couple of years now do a proper
democratic election
if democracy is there, because democracy is only there when it favors the powers. You know, but at least let people, yes, that is the only, it's not a very good system, but it's the only other system that is available for us to use. So let the Haitians be able to choose their own government, their
what
own
do you have
leadership.
to say about that?
Indeed, I totally agree with you, my brother, because we've been imposed different government for so long now, and they have come and we have seen. Because the biggest thing is the government structure in Haiti doesn't work for his people. They work for themselves. When you have someone that goes and get have the privilege to be in a position of a senator, deputy, whichever one, and then they go in, they do not go and look at the neighbors, the community where they're from and say, hey, I'm going to make that community proud because I know they're going to help me accountable for whatever I do. But they see themselves, okay, Haiti is an unstable country, so if I'm here today, I have to make sure before something happens, my pocket is filled with money. Because I don't want them to say, hey, you in power and now you don't even have a taxi moto to circulate. So it's not about what I can do for my country, it's what the country can do for me or whatever I can gain. So we need to have a clear understanding that whatever government that we need to put in place, as you say, we need a transitional government that could put along some steps to get the country into a stabilized type of country where the justice system is reinforced. But we also need a government that is working for the people. And we have to encourage our constituent, our Haitians, like me, we need accountability. We need to hold them accountable. It's not enough to just say, oh, whatever, it's the government. You are the forces that allow the government to exist. Because if there's no people, there's no government. What are you governing, yourself? No. So we need to make sure that they understand that we will be watching. We understand our role as people, and we need them to come and help us, not be against us.
Very, very true. And this has been a very complex issue, but we've broken it down, and it's very nice because whoever's listening or whoever's watching is able to understand that there's more that meets the eye. It's not just about the gangs. There's so much going on in Haiti, and also understand the reason why Kenya and probably different countries will be sending its security officers. Any parting shots from Mr. Musa? Anything you'd love to add on this issue?
Well, let's all, not just the government, but also as a people. Of course, I've met Muslim brothers from Haiti, but quite a number of them have reverted to Islam much later. So we know that we have Muslims there. So as Muslims in Kenya and all over the world, what are we going to do for our brethren in Haiti? And just as Africans or black people, what are we doing to our brothers in Haiti? What can we do so that $1 or 1 shilling or whatever you have, if you can find a way of making it reach there, it would be really good for them to just have some reprieve or some relief, however minor. And of course, let's also listen to them. Let our governments, and especially the Kenya government, be able to do some preliminary research before providing that much needed intervention, so that we provide intervention according to the needs of the Haitian and not according to someone else's need.
Very, very true. And Ms. Marin, before you give us your final shots, what next for Haiti? What would you love to see Haiti probably evolve or do in the next couple of years?
I am very optimistic. I think that despite all this chaos that exists, we are moving toward a decisive path for us. And I know that in the ground we are tired as mothers, as sisters. We are tired. We want to see a change. The only thing is we're asking for the international community and whoever to give us the chance to have this change by us, for us. And I think that's the most important thing right now. And yes, it's, we need all the help that we can get, but the help needs to be a help that is well understood and the help that is catered to the people, not to a political party, not to some kind of behind the scenes type of agenda, but to truly be for the people.
Very, very well put. What about for you? What's your message rather to Haitians?
First of all, before I give my message, I want to thank the Aki Africa, because they are the reason that I'm here today, and I appreciate the fact that they have taken upon themselves to be the voice to make sure that we have a transparency on what's going to happen in Haiti, and also to demand of you know, gender equality and make sure that the human right is respected, because this is one of the issues that we always have as well. When they come in, everybody do whatever they want to do, and nobody said nothing. And my hope is for first of all, the Kenyan population that is looking at me, go research Haiti, go learn about the country, go learn about the culture, go learn about who we are, because that's important if you're sending somebody to know where they're going. And second of all, understand that yes, you're going there, you're not going as these colonial type of egotistic type of person. You're going as, this is your brother and sister that needs help. However, listen to them. Listen to what we say that we need, not what you think that we may need. And then that way, the symbiotes that you're looking for, you will get it. And also, again and again, you cannot kill a snake by its tail but by the head. So we need to reinforce that embargo. We need to make sure that we identify the people that are feeding guns, we bring them to justice. We need to limit the amount of guns. We need to isolate these gangs. We need to restore security, and then invest in social services, invest in hospitals and stuff, because the country is going to need to heal itself. And we cannot do this alone, yes. So inshallah, we need your prayers and your du'as as Muslim that we are, and we believe that Allah has always the final word. So inshallah.
Thank you so much for that enlightening final remarks. Once again, thank you so much to Haki Africa for allowing this interview to happen. Thank you so much, Mr. Musa. You shared a very good perspective, you know, to understand as Kenyans what it means to assist our brothers and sisters in Haiti. Thank you so much, Ms. Mariam, for coming and joining us on this. Thank you so much. Literally, it's been enlightening. This discussion has also shed light on various issues, and also living while we're more educated on the issues affecting Haiti. Thank you so much for staying with us here on the Muslim Insight. Until next Friday, Masalam.